Welcome back, everybody. I grew up in a small town, southeast Arkansas, where there wasn't a ton of stuff to do. We had a movie theater once. I think it was late '70s, early '80s. But it eventually closed. A lot of small towns had a lot of businesses closed. Um, and then we were kind of forced to find other things to do, which a lot of us, as we started getting our driver's license, started riding roads and find some back roads, some dirt roads, and eventually graduated to riding up down the levee with some cold drinks in the back. So, which is still one of my favorite things to do today. And it made me think, of all those dirt roads that we drove down, all the things we did, good and bad. Um, if that dirt road could talk, what would it say? Would it tell on you? Would it have good memories? Would it have some bad memories mixed in? Would it, you know, some of the stories it would tell, would it, you know, get you in a little bit of trouble? Probably so. But I know this. I know that somewhere out there, there's a dirt road that knows your name. It remembers the dust on your tires, the weight of your heart, the miles you probably never talked about. If that dirt road could talk, it'd tell stories you never knew you were living at the time. That road would probably carry the sound of old boots, late night laughter, broken hearts, and probably a lot of prayers whispered under some of those wide southern skies. We're going to spend the next few minutes walking a road that holds more stories than it could ever tell, but I guarantee you it'd try. Um, this new chapter is called If This Dirt Road Could Talk. I hope you enjoy. The road was dry and the ruts were worn deep from trucks and tractors that had come through for years. Dust lifted behind the tires and hung in the air like old memory. You could smell the clay when it got wet and feel it in your chest when it was dry. It didn't lead anywhere important, not to anyone who didn't know. But if you grew up down it, it led to everything. The old truck rattled as he steered one handed, the window down and his elbow out, his hat pulled down low. Country music on the radio, the good kind, not the kind they make today. He passed the creek that still cut crooked through the pasture, same as it always had. He slowed at the bend where he kissed her the first time. She smelled like honeysuckle in summer. He hadn't smelled honeysuckle in a long time without thinking of her. The roads didn't ask questions, they just held the weight of what you'd done. The arguments you had with your parents when you thought you knew more than they did. The nights you drove too fast with too much beer in your blood and too little sense in your head. The way the tires kicked up gravel when you left town for good, or at least you thought you did. He came back now and then, though he didn't tell people much. The house was long gone, torn down or swallowed up by vines. The road was still there, still quiet, still red and cracked and honest. If this dirt road could talk, he thought, it'd whisper about the time he buried his dog under the pecan tree and cried so hard he threw up. It'd remember the time his brother came back from overseas and didn't say much, but sat in the yard at dusk and listened to the crickets. It'd tell you where he carved her initials into the bark and how long it took before the tree grew over it. He turned the engine off, sat there and listened. The engine clicked as it cooled. Wind moved through the hardwoods, no voices, no ghosts, just the feel of the place, like an old t-shirt you hadn't worn in years, but still fits just the same. He walked a little way down the road, kicking a rock ahead of him like he used to. Same rhythm, left foot, right foot. The stone would bounce off into the grass and he'd find another. You always found another. That's how it went. The sun dropped low the way it used to on Sunday evenings, too soon and too fast. The light turned amber and soft, and the wind cooled. He could almost hear a voice, not loud but certain. The kind of voice that meant something. If this dirt road could talk, it wouldn't say much. It'd just nod like old men do when words aren't needed anymore. The wind picked up again and carried the scent of something sweet, maybe wildflowers, maybe memory. He stood there and looked across the field where the old barn used to be. He and his cousin Jeff had built a ramp there once out of scrap wood and foolishness. Rode their bikes off of it until they bled or broke something. Jeffrey Neal always laughed when he crashed. The kind of laugh that sticks with you. You didn't know what it meant until it was gone. He sat down in the grass and leaned back on his elbows. Let the dirt settle into his jeans. He let the wind press against his face like the hand of someone he once loved. There were no sounds except for the rustling of dry leaves and the distant call of a dove. If this dirt road could talk, it'd speak in slow, measured words, the kind that didn't need to hurry. It'd speak of boys with sunburnt necks and scabbed knees, of fathers who rose before dawn, and mothers who hummed old hymns over sink water and supper pots. He drove them again, years later, the tires crunching the gravel the same way his bike tires used to when he was 10, and flying downhill with no brakes and no fear. He passed the old Moreland place. Nothing but a foundation now, swallowed by kudzu and time. But in his mind, he still heard the screen door slam and the laughter that spilled out behind it. There was a bend in the road just before the creek. That's where he kissed her the first time. Rebecca with the red and white striped tube top and the taste of peppermint on her lips. She left town after 9th grade and never came back. But the road remembered. The road never forgot. He slowed the truck to a crawl near the field where they used to set up a makeshift diamond. 4 rocks for bases, gloves that didn't match, a bat with tape holding it together. They played until the fireflies came out and someone's mama hollered from the porch. That was the scoreboard, a voice calling your name through the twilight. And when his mother died, this was the road they took. The procession winding slow through the country he loved, past the cows and the silos and the rusted tractors that hadn't moved in years. The preacher's words were short, but the road said a lot more. It carried his sorrow like it carried his laughter all those years before. The road was quieter. Kids groaned, the porch empty, but the trees still whispered. The fence post still leaned, and if you listened close enough in the golden hush just before dark, you could hear it. All the stories, the moments that made a man. If this dirt road could talk, it wouldn't shout. It would just sit with you a while and it would remember. I hope you like that. Hope it didn't seem too corny. But again, if you enjoyed it, I'd like for you to maybe ease on over to my YouTube channel, subscribe to it, maybe share this, and maybe leave a comment. Some of the stuff you did on a dirt road that didn't too bad, I should say. So anyway, I really appreciate you listening. Appreciate you commenting and sharing all these posts. Thank you so much, and y'all have a blessed night. See you. Bye.